Hello everyone, my name is Trifium and welcome to the Americas Replay. Just before we jump into things, I just wanted to let you all know that we had an issue with the stream, so we are beginning the coverage of this broadcast from the 13-minute mark of the qualifying session. See you guys next week for Hungary.
BTFU now just making his way through Club Corner onto the hangar straight, DRS wide open, and it looks like it's a pretty decent lap so far from the AlphaTauri. It's a Stowe now, 5th gear. See Vicious teammate there just getting out of the way nice and early as he makes his way into the pit lane. BTFU now a couple, the last few corners, Vale, the Vale chicane up through the gears now, through Club. What's the time going to be? It is going to be oh my goodness, can't read it, 1:24.897.
Yeah, and Maxim and Caesar's both on a lap. Caesar's now actually finishing the lap. He has souls out of him. I don't know if he's on a lap. It seems like he wasn't on a lap, but a little bit of their share giving to that McLaren jumping into P2 after that bad third sector. There's still a lot of land to improve there for the McLaren driver.
Yes, Sejos, a driver who, well, he's now a race winner. I do believe he did win in Austria last week. And he's showing that he has the pace here again in Silverstone. A P2 time, 1:24.290, just over a 10th behind Becky B. Looks like his teammate, Maxime B, coming around Stowe Corner now, heading towards Vale on his first attempt at a flying lap. You see that fuel light is flashing. He's on absolute fumes at the moment, Bitto. Hot lap mode is engaged. What's the time going to be for the McLaren? It's P4. A 1:24.668, and wow, what a performance so far from the McLaren squad.
Yeah, both of them into that top 5, actually top 4 for both of them. So at the moment, I think it was only Holtz flying on that Alfa Romeo, but invalidating on the entry of 11 and 12. But Apex there just will ruin all the lap he was doing, and now he will head into the pits, I'll guess, because he is on 0 deployment, but it seems like he will stay out and do and try another lap, probably enough fuel to do that back-to-back run.
One driver that we haven't seen a whole lot of is Twinkie. He is, I believe, the newest addition to the MRL grid, replacing Aphrodite in that Renault car. He's making his way through the loop as we speak. Turns number 4 into entry number 5. I will now jump on board with the Renault driver as he's setting his first lap of the session. And Bitto, take us through this middle section of the lap, if you please.
Yeah, now Brooklands just entering sector 2. 367 was the first sector. It seems like pretty decent, actually, kind of fast. Now into Luffield, very hard traction zone out of turn 7, turn 8 flat out. You can see how tight he's going on the right hand side there on the track. Now one of the most difficult on this track, it's Cops flat out. Trying to not go wide there, jumping into the curb, but not enough to go outside of the wide line. Now on this section, of course, very technical. Maggots and Beckett's now on the exit of Chapel. He will have a little bit of the tier of Yamamoto, but we tried the slipstream just behind the Williams, just pushing there the hot lap mode and opening DRS, going into stall. Turn 15 for the Renault. Now on his debut as a full-time driver. So now he'll go into the turn 16, and turn 17 on Bale and Club as turn 18 to finish this lap, trying to not go wide, no validate there. Very difficult traction zone. It will be a 24.4, sending himself into P4.
Yeah, very, very solid lap from the Renault driver. Definitely showing that he has the pace to really hang with those top guys. Currently 9 and a bit minutes remaining in qualifying. Becky B still our provisional pole sitter with 1:24.172, but Sejos and Vischer as well, as Vischer a little bit of an excursion into the grass on his latest flying lap attempt, coming down the old pit straight into Cops Corner as we speak. Very, very tight between these top guys, and it's very tight actually, Bitto, all the way down this grid. I'm seeing the gap between Maxime B, Fizimon, and Zamis at the moment is less than 1/100th of a second at the moment. So it's definitely very, very tight, both at the top of this grid and in the mid-pack.
It's very close, actually. Zamis only 3,000 away of that 6th place, but his teammate, Strifian, right now, not setting a lap at the moment, as well as Gauzy, but Strifian just entering that sector 3 on Stowe at the moment. We'll see which will be his first lap today, as he will try to beat his eternal rival Gaziek. Both of them not doing that lap as I said. So now on last corner, the Ferrari of Striff will cross the line on P17 at 25.5, and it's a very decent lap at the moment. He will be improving on this 8 minutes remaining on this session.
Well, Becky B, don't look now, Bitter. He is 2.5 tenths up through the second sector split and absolutely throwing that Williams car through Stowe, looking for that 100-meter board for the Vale chicane. Now the third gear, and it looks very, very nice, Bitter. This could be into the 23s. What's the time going to be? It is a 1 minute 23.909. He improves by the best part of 2.5 tenths. And that is going to be quite the time to beat, as Angel actually now is in that second place by 200th of a second with 1 minute 24.273 is the Racing Point driver. So very, very nicely done by the Mexican as well.
Now Fiziman will cross the line. I think he was improving to 10th, but he didn't move up that position. So right now he will stay on P6, but an improvement on 2/10. I think it was a 6.73 before, and now on a very good time.
Cheery as well, just coming across the line with a 1 minute 25.084. He improves by the best part of 8 tenths and shoots himself up into 13th place. So not a bad effort there from your fellow Spaniard. And we'll see.
PTF, sorry to interrupt, but PTF, you have a spin, I think, on Brooklands in the braking zone, probably losing the rear because he was on the runoff area on turn 6. So he will not be improving, at least at the moment. He will save that ERS and that fuel, and he will try to do it again. 6 minutes left. He has time still. He's on P12, and a lot of drivers, if I'm not mistaken, flying at the moment. I think Maxim B is one of them.
Yeah, we're just right on board with Casquito as he just came across the line to improve up to 7th place with a 1 minute 24.597. And I do believe, yes, Maxime B is currently on a flying lap, although he's turned off his ERS, so he may have aborted his most recent attempt, as has Jack 5.
I saw him losing the rear on turn 3 and 4, so probably that's the cause of that, because he was trying to fly there, he was on a lap, and then a mistake jumping into the curb so much probably made him lose all the time he gained, and then just thinking again to do it next time.
Well, Rhapsody, the Brazilian, coming across the line to start his latest attempt of a flying lap with 5.5 minutes remaining, Bitter. This might be one of the last runs that he gets in this session because it's a very long track, and it's a very long pit lane as well. So this is a kind of time when drivers need to start thinking about, okay, need to get prepared for that final run. As we're just watching the Mercedes driver going through Brooklands now, he's down by 0.5 tenth, down by 700ths, so a little bit more time to find in that Mercedes. He's currently sitting in 12th place, but Rhapsody, he's a very, very fast driver, and he's normally fighting for those higher end positions, so it's quite odd to see him down there in a 12th place, but looks like he's tidied up the second sector just a little bit. We'll see how he handles the Magnus and Beckett section. Looks very, very tidy, gets some decent rotation in the car, taps the grass a little bit though on the exit of Beckett's in the chapel, and that certainly is going to compromise his time at least a little bit better.
Yes, he's only improving 1.5. We'll see where that time puts him, but he will jump into the pits. He's not happy with that flying, so we'll probably change the compound of the softs and try another one with probably better track conditions.
Vischer came across the line. He improves by a tenth to reclaim that front row. Well, to take away that front row, I should say, from Angel. A 1 minute 24.197 is the time from the AlphaTauri. So a very, very strong performance thus far, but there isn't really a lot of action out there on the track. Currently, Maxson, I think, is the only car on a flying lap at the moment. He's making his way through Woodcote down at the old pit straight. But as there's 3.5 minutes left in qualifying, we should be seeing a lot of cars out there on the track very, very soon. It's just the calm before the storm, as I like to put it, as these drivers all in the pits taking out all the fuel, waiting for the track to be as grippy as it is, as rubbered in as possible before they go out for one final charge. But if you are enjoying the stream, apologies again for the delays and the technical issues, but we are here for the Americas division. My name is Mikhail. Joining me all the way from Spain is Mr. Alejandro Bito. And if you are looking to take your sim racing experience to the next level, check out our partners, Next Level Racing, for some great sim rigs. !NLR in the chat as we watch Maxena have a massive improvement all the way up into 5th place, Bito. What a drive by the Mexican.
I didn't expect that. Mexena normally on that top 10. Now he's there on the top 5. His teammate right there as well on P7. So a very good result at the moment on qualifying for the Red Bull squad. It doesn't seem like he will have another try because he's low on fuel and on 0 ERS. So it can be a very good one for him if nobody improves. But I think at least a couple of drivers will try to do that.
Holtz on his latest attempt of a flying lap, coming down the hangar straight, heading into Stowe Corner, looking just around where that curb starts on the left-hand side. It looks like he's actually, no, he's still going. Through the Vale chicane he goes. A little bit more speed on the table, I do feel, but we'll see what he can do. And he improves by 5/10, so not too shabby. He's got P11 at the moment, Bito. 1 minute 24.718 as we see both McLarens heading out onto the track at the same time.
Yeah, now his teammate Gabox, I think is his second race as a full-time here in Alfa Romeo. He tried his best on Austria. The strategy wasn't the best, and the rain and all the circumstances were not enough to get points. But at the moment, flying on Maggots and Beckett's, now on 13, and the exit on Chapel, probably a little bit of the tear there from the racing point from the Angel, but it will be enough for losing time because he's now on red Delta as he enters sector 3, opening DRS, but now he's on 0 deployment, so he will abort this lap and will try another one.
Yeah, he's back out of it. He's going to try and recharge at least just a little bit and start another attempt as the game decides to give him the almighty rev glitch. But I think all of these guys, all on outlaps, about to start their flying runs as there's just under 60 seconds left in the session. This is it, Bito. This is their one last attempt. Can Becky B solidify his pole position and go even faster than the time he's already set? Currently the pole time at 1 minute 23.909. Or can the likes of Vischer, Angel, Sejos, or even Twinkie or Fizzimon get anywhere close to challenging this Williams, who has been on fire basically this entire season? A couple of tough results in the last 2 races, and he's definitely looking to get back on the top step of that podium. But yeah, Becky B, he's flying through the first sector, and he's up on his time once again, Bito.
Definitely he had to improve that, and he knows that 26.6 is the first split, as all these drivers, almost all these drivers, are really flying. Bisha as well, and it seems like he won't be on time there for the line. He will miss it. He's on the outlap, but now he will miss it. Becky B on cops, flat out, almost going wide there. He will try to do his best because we know he has that potential to improve that time, 23.9, but he needs to put it all together on this lap. Look at that. He goes wide on Chapel, and he will
he's
lose
spun
it.
it. He's lost it. Straight into the wall goes the Williams driver, so he will not be improving. Gabox, though, he improves to second place at 1 minute 24.106. Angel improves up to third at 1 minute 24.132. But none of them are able to crack into that 1 minute 23. As we now have a look at Sejos as he's making his way down the hangar straight. Realistically, one of the only other drivers that could challenge Becky B at this point, currently sitting with a 1 minute 24.290. He makes his way through Stowe now into Vale, the final braking zone of the lap. It looks pretty clean, Bito, but is it enough? Is it fast enough to really challenge that Williams in pole position? What's the time going to be? It's not quite enough. It is 5th place by 1 millisecond to Vischer, a 1 minute 24.198, and it's not going to quite be enough. Twinkie, now one of the last few drivers to finish their lap time. Actually, I think his teammate. No, his teammate's invalidated.
Casquito's just invalidated. I think it was in the last corner, or I'm mistaken.
Yeah, Casquito.
Oh, it was before.
Yeah, Casquito invalidating his lap time. Twinkie heading into the pit lane. And Beto, ladies and gentlemen, in the stream, in the chat, that is our grid for the Silverstone race, the British GP for the Americas division. Becky B on that pole position once again, and Gabox will line up alongside him. So an amazing lap from the Alfa Romeo.
Amazing lap from Gearbox. I think he had the P6, if I'm not mistaken, on his debut in Austria. Now jumping into P2, trying to unsettle the kingdom of Becky B, I would say, because Becky is really dominating here, but Gearbox really close. 2 tenths was the gap though. Still, he has time to improve, but this race can be very tight, and we have seen on the chat that it's plus 45 minutes till the rain, so probably can have a last stage of rain on this race.
Yeah, we'll certainly have to keep an eye out for that one. But Becky B, once again on pole position with a 1 minute 23.909, and Gabox lining up alongside him with a 1 minute 24.106 as the Chilean. Angel, the Mexican, will line up in third place for Racing Point at 1 minute 24.132, and Vischer in the Alpha Tower will line up alongside him. We're getting ahead of CEST by 1 millisecond, and of course we will go through the rest of this grid on the formation lap, but there are quite a few drivers that are out of position. Namely, the ones that I'm looking at are Yama and Rhapsody down to 15th and 16th at the moment.
Yeah, very fast drivers, normally in the top 5. Actually, Yama is the second driver on these standings on the championship, and as you said, very low on that position, and as well as Rhapsody, who's I think third on the standings.
Yes, we have the second and third place men, both in the mid pack, in that back 10. They will get to choose the alternate strategy, so maybe that will be a saving grace to them if this rain comes sooner than predicted. Maybe go for those mediums and just extend them out to the rain if it comes sooner than expected, or just go for that medium soft strategy. But only a few seconds remaining before these guys go on their formation lap around the iconic Silverstone circuit. Very historic, very famous, both in F1 and in the racing scene. I can't wait to see what these drivers have in store for us. Predicted pit stop strategy, soft to medium or soft to hard, says the game before Becky B. I do believe everyone will be doing that soft to medium as we just get things set up. And oh my goodness, Biddo, look at that back 10 with the tires. Run us through this grid if you please, and these tire choices are very interesting.
Very interesting. We saw that we had probably a hope of rain there at the end of this race, so these drivers are really trying to stretch the first stint till the rain so they don't have to pit twice. We have Maxime Zamos and Maxime and Zamos on mediums, Casquito with the hards, Tolls and Yama with the mediums, Rhapsody as well on the hards, Chirri, Jack, Strifium and Gauziak on those mediums. They think that the medium will be enough to stretch that stint till the rain, or at least I think that should be the plan. Rhapsody and Casquito not risking it, and they want to do they want to be sure that that first stint really goes till the rain, if the rain comes down.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only reason I'd see for going onto those hard compound tires. But of course, these top 10 need to start on their softs that they qualified on as per the regulations. So Becky B on pole position, Gabox lining up alongside him on the front row. Then we have Angel and Vischer on that second row. CEST and Fizzimon doing pretty well for themselves on that third row. Fifth and sixth, Max Senna in the second Red Bull car up into 7th place. Not somewhere where we usually see him, but definitely very impressive lap time from the Mexican. Twiki on his full-time MRL debut in that Renault car is 8th. Tom Hawk in 9th, and BTFU rounds out the top 10. Maxime B, Zemes 11th, 12th, Casquito in 13th, Holz in 14th, Yama 15th, Rhapsody in 16th, Chile, and Jack 5, the two Haas's in 17th and 18th on that second last row, and then Strifium and Gorzieg, the two Canadians, filling the back row of the grid. But Vito, as all these guys are approaching their grid slot now, looks like Rhapsody a little bit behind the rest of the grid, but we are almost ready for lights out here in Silverstone.
Yes, there will be this will be very interesting. Seeing Gabok there on the first row on the first time. We'll see if he can take the first place on this first lap, but I will take you through these lights.
Yeah, so 3, 4, 5 red lights. And the drivers, they go out very quickly. It's lights out, and away we go for America's race around Silverstone. Looks like it's been a pretty decent start from Becky B. He's able to hold off from Gabox. One of the McLarens, they're going wide. I do believe that is... Oh, we actually have a yellow flag already. There's been a massive crash. Looks like Holtz and Gorziak having a little bit of a tussle. But rest of the grid getting through pretty nice and cleanly. We have a virtual safety car in the opening few corners of this race, Bido.
Yeah, I think there was contact in turn 1 and 2 between the Alfa Romeo and the Mercedes, as well Fizimon seeing understeering there on turn 2, and Caesars had to go wide a little bit on that exit. So at the moment, Caesars, I think, lost a couple of places there, and as a result, so right now virtual safety car just calming down a little bit things, and now is well, we have to see who will catch the delta better. It seems like the safety car is ending at the moment.
Yeah, they're starting to try and put the power down. They want to get as close to that 0 delta as they can, and the virtual safety car has ended. We are green flag racing. Angel is side by side with Gabox through Maggots. He tries to switch back into Beckett's, but he just can't find a way past, and that might open the door for Vischer making his way through Treble Curve. They go now. These three are all so very, very close. Angel using that overtake button as much as he can. He has the inside for Stowe. He dives up the inside. There's a little bit of contact between the two. Angel able to keep that car under control. Now Vischer looking for a switch back up to the inside. Angel defends it. Vischer has to try and find his way around the outside. Vizimon trying to find his way past him as well, but they just can't find it. These top four staying line astern through the first lap of the race. Vizimon and Tomahawk actually getting off to a pretty great start. Tomahawk up 3 positions. Shijos down 2 as Max Senna and Cosquito are going side by side into turns 1 and 2. Vito, oh, looks like the Red Bull getting out ahead just before turn number 3, using those soft combat tires, but Cosquito will have the inside for turn number 4. Looks like Maxime B is trying to make it 3 wide as they made their way through Aintree. That's something you don't see too often, but Max Senna is now side by side with the Renault driver. But Cosquito, he has the inside line for Brooklands. Can he hold it around the outside? Does the Red Bull driver? He has the inside now for Luffield. And it looks like the Red Bull might have that move done. Cosquito, a massive snap from the rear end there at the exit of Luffield.
Cosquito with that heart was really struggling on traction out of club, as well as turn 1 and turn 2. Look at that understeer on Cops, is really suffering on that hard. Still maintaining, I think, P11 though. But look at the train behind him. Is Maxime on the mediums, really pushing hard behind that Renault, as well as Yama just on P13, it seems, as BTF overtakes, if I'm not mistaken, Twinkie, and will try to do the same Bisha on Sieges, but they are so close at the moment.
Now Chile looking for a move on his teammate for 17th place. Up the inside goes the Haas. Oh, can't they leave each other enough space for now? Not recreating the dreaded Haas race from 2018. They both survive yet another lap, but those two definitely not giving each other... well, they're not making it easy for each other, that's for sure. Lap 3 now as we head into the first sector for the third time this race. DRS has been enabled. Becky B, currently your race leader, 1.6 seconds ahead of Gabox. In the lead of things, he is trying to get that gap as large as he can at the moment. But behind him, there is this massive train, especially being held up by Fizimon, Tomahawk all over the back of this Red Bull, as is Sejos on the racing point, as is the 2 AlphaTauris, and Twinkie as well is in the party in that train from 4th to 9th, Vito.
Yeah, now as well another train from Max Senna, if I'm not mistaken, to both Haas's. So both Ferraris as well there on this train. Zamos very close actually on Yama. He will not try the move here on Cobbs, but now Tomahawk losing the rear on the exit of Cobbs. He will lose a massive time. I think it was 3 positions there after having that snap, and Caesars will overtake him, as well as Bishop, BTFU and Swinky. Tomahawk not the first snap of overtake he had on this race.
Yeah, Tomahawk also picking up a time penalty for his issues as well. Fortunately for him though, Max Senna just a little bit too far behind as the 2 Haas's now going side by side again. There's contact between the 2. You see Shirley putting up the left hand in frustration, but he is through on a Jack, his teammate for this occasion, filling in at that Haas seat, and he is through for 17th place. so they live to fight another day. But Becky B, once again, showing his class above the rest of the field. 1.8 seconds is now the gap that he has out in front of things. But behind him, there is so much fighting going on. Looks like Twinkie looking up the inside of turn number 4. He's trying to find a way past BCFU in the 2 Alpha Tauris, but it isn't going to quite work out on this occasion. Zamis, 3.5 tenths behind Yama. Yama 4 tenths now, 3.5 behind Maxi B. These guys are all in the DRS train at the moment, finding it very, very difficult to just get that little bit closer to go for that dive to really trying to make an overtake stick, Bido.
Yes, and if I'm not mistaken, on lap 3, the gap between Angel and Gabox was 1.0, and then Angel just break DRS, and that's letting him being there with Gabox. Because now Gabox is losing time with Becky. He doesn't have the DRS, but Angel has the DRS. That's super important because, as we can see, the DRS is very powerful. Look at the strengths on the map, and Angel really can push, and Fizimon is out of that DRS window.
So you're just having a little bit of a moment through Beckett and Chapel, running a little bit onto the grass, but he is fortunately a little bit far for Fisher to really mount any kind of attack. And yeah, all these guys just holding line of stern. Looks like Zamis getting still extremely close to the back of this Williams as they make their way through Vale and Club now to start lap 5 of 26. The Clouds are still here to stay, and Vischer will become the second driver to pick up the penalty as we watch Zamis really cut the apex of turn 1. That's surely going to be a warning if I've ever seen one. But these guys are all so close. One mistake anywhere on this train is going to mean disaster, and going to mean a lot of positions being lost. We'll see who has the closest gap in things. Looks like C-Joss, 2 and a bit tenths, isn't quite able to find the move on a Fizimon for that 4th place at the moment. And everyone just sort of trying to put a bit of pressure on everyone else, trying to force that mistake and try and really shake the rhythm that these guys have found in the opening few laps, Bido.
Definitely, a mistake can cost you a lot of positions, and we saw it with Tomahawk. I think he was up into P5, then a mistake out of Cups cost him 4 places. So at the moment, you can see all of these gaps very close. Yama actually clipping a little bit that grass on Beckett's, and now Zamas will try the move. It seems like both are using that battery, and the DRS train is so powerful that Yama can defend really easy on this hunger straight.
Well, Striffium is the one who needs to defend now in that other Ferrari, as Cheery was getting very close to the back of that Scarlet Red Ferrari. The Canadian definitely feeling the pressure being mounted from that Haas behind him. And all these gaps are getting within that 2 tenths. Zamis right up the rear of Yama once more, but is he going to really find the speed that he needs to go for a dive? We'll have a look at that timing tower. Cheery has a think about it, but doesn't quite do it. Striffium missing the apex, a little bit of turn 3. Cheery trying to set himself up for the run that he needs. Striffium's out of DRS now as well. I think this might be the move that the Haas driver needs. The Spaniard DRS overtake. He's low on battery as well, Bido. But up the inside, Striffium gives him the squeeze at the inside of Brooklands. And it looks like he might have this move done. Striffium tries to switch back, but it doesn't quite work out. So Cheery up into 16th place. What a move from the Haas driver.
Yeah, now Bisha was very close out of Lowfield as well on Caesars, but then, of course, the digit here and the slipstream gained by Caesars on Fizimon really is good for him to defend that place. So at the moment, Bisha with 3 second time penalty, if I'm not mistaken, that really can cost him at the end of this race somehow with 6 at the moment.
Striffium is in the grass and the gravel, and he's picked up a 3 second time penalty as well. We aren't 100% sure on what happened to the Ferrari driver, but what is certain is that he has taken an off-road adventure, and he is now down into 18th place and a good 13 seconds or so behind in the next car. So that's super unfortunate for those Ferrari fans. And like we were saying, that one mistake means you're going to be out of the running, out of the train that has formed. And the train is actually split into 2, Bido. I do believe that Tomahawk has continued to fall off the back of Twinkie. 1.7 seconds is the gap separating 8th and 9th at the moment.
Yeah, I don't really know if it's the pace or, of course, that DRS, as I said, that is really helping these drivers to be really close. As Cizos was the one closer on this stage on Brooklands. Didn't even try the move there there was no space. He was not even alongside to try it, and Fizimon will stay on P4. So these drivers are really pushing, and not the gap between P1 and P2 is 4.2 seconds on lap 7.
Yeah, well, Fizimon, he's right on the gap, right on the cusp of that DRS. 1.1 seconds is the gap between himself and Angel. And Sejos, we're currently riding on board with the McLaren. He is all over the back of this Red Bull. Gets a little bit of a worse run through Chapel, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. You can just see the speed with the DRS, but is he going to be close enough to make a launch? He looks for it. Fizimon aggressively taking an earlier apex to try and cut off that McLaren driver, and he will live to fight another day.
Zamas was trying it, now Yama goes defensive. Zamas will try it now on the chicane of 16 and 17, putting there the nose, but it's not enough. Of course, to do that, moves is trying to scare the Williams driver is the only option that he has at the moment, because it's very difficult to make a move there, Mika.
Yeah, it most definitely is, especially after the wash of dirty air that you have through Stowe that can really unsettle the car and really just throw you off. But Sejos still very, very close to the back of Fizimon. I think Fizimon actually has regained DRS. Yes, he has. So very, very nicely done from the Red Bull driver. It is extremely hard, I can say from experience, extremely hard to regain a DRS once you have lost it. So very, very nicely done from the Red Bull, at least on this occasion. He's now fallen back out of that 1 second gap. Oh, it's so close. You can see on that timing tower. He needs this DRS though. He needs this DRS to stay in front of Sejos and the two charging AlphaTauris behind him, as Angel runs a little bit too wide at the exit of Copspitter, and that's a 3-second time penalty for the Mexican.
That can cost him a lot. As we can see, all drivers very close, and 3 seconds can really put you down like a lot of places. And right now on a podium finishing position, but who's that? Is the other Ferrari, Zamos, on the gravel in the same spot.
Zamos as well, having a little bit of an off-road adventure like his teammate, as Angel using that DRS and overtake very, very well to get past Gabox for second place on track. Mexena becomes the next driver to pick up a time penalty, and we have a few pitters already on lap 9 of this race, Bitter.
They will try the undercut. The DRS is very powerful, but the undercut as well, because you can overcut not only one but all the drivers that were on that train. So they will try to do that. They cannot overtake on the track. They will try it on the pits and strategy. But remember, we have this rain at the end of the campaign, so probably we can see some drivers not pitting till that rain comes down.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Bitter, but is Fizimon on another set of softs?
He is actually. He wants to put those softs till the rain, but it's very risky as Casquito overtakes Mexena on Wellington Straight up into P6 with that harsh compound. Is a very good strategy. He's just wants to be sure that those hards goes to the end, and at the moment on a very good place. He doesn't need to pit at the moment.
Yeah, I'm curious. Fizimon really going for the gamble that this rain will hit and it will be heavy enough for those intermediate tires, because otherwise he will need to pit once more. And Silverstone is a very slow and very long pit lane. But yeah, it looks like Casquito, he's actually making those hard combat tires work. Mexena's softs aren't really giving him the grip that he needs. He runs a little bit wide at the exit of Beckett's once more, dipping that front left tire, I should say, into the grass. And it looks like you see Maxime up the inside. Those softs are definitely starting to die. Oh, looks like Mexena getting squeezed a little bit onto the edge of things. Maxime B trying to hold it around the outside of Vale. He comes the inside for the next part of the chicane, and there he goes. He gets the move done, and he has now Yama looking up the inside of the Red Bull as well. Now the two Mexicans having a little bit of a duel. You can see that red light flashing. Mexena has basically no battery left in that tank, and Yama, you can see the speed he has. He's earlier on the brakes though into turn 3. Mexena trying to hold it around the outside. He has the inside now for turn 4. But it looks like Yama, he's trying to get the grip that he needs as a couple more drivers have come into the pits. So that's Becky B and Twinkie now putting on a fresh set of tires. Twinkie as well going for a fresh set of softs as we're watching Yama up the inside of Mexena. Easy as you like. Now the Williams up into 6th place on the track, Bitter.
I think Mexena really wanted to pit at the moment, but had Maxime on the inside line, and he was not able to cross there between lines and go into the pit. So probably he only had the option to stay there on the track as Misha overtakes Sheriff on Brooklands. We're going to move for the AlphaTauri, who has just pitted into those mediums as his second stint.
Yeah. I'm really... These guys, both Vizimon and Twinkie, going for a massive, massive gamble. As looks like Twinkie looking around the outside of Cops. Hello! On Stryfium there, and that is an amazing move from the Renault up into 15th place, trying to do his best to stick with Vischer as they both are on those fresh tires. And it looks like more drivers coming into the pits, but one of them that hasn't come into the pits is Arnheld, now on those 10-lap-old soft compound tires, Bitter.
Is there any possibility that he wants to really stretch those to the end, or at least to the rain, if I'm not mistaken, what I was going to say? Because the moment, of course, the mediums are faster, as you can see on the gap between him and Maxime, but is probably worth it to stay out till the rain? I really don't think so.
Well, the clouds certainly have gotten at least a little bit darker since we've started this race, as the 2 AlphaTauri is getting very close on the pit exit. Vischer just ahead of a BTFU, but they are both behind the Renault of Twinkie, who has made his way past Vischer up into 12th place now on the track, using those soft tires as much as he can. His teammate Coscuto currently sitting in 3rd place on those hards, chasing down Maxime B, and Coscuto actually has lit up those hard tires. Those hards are working very, very nicely for the Renault driver, Bido.
Yeah, not only for him, but Rhapsody as well. They're on the same train as him, only 2 places back. Yamamoto on before, just splitting both of the hard runners. Angel now pitting, so he will not be trying to stretch those to the end. But the undercut, I think, from Vizimon and Gabox will be good enough, I think, to be ahead of the Mexican, as Gabox has lost his net P2 against the Red Bull.
Yeah, it looks like Vizimon, that undercut has worked on those soft compound tires. The CEST getting very, very close to the back of BTFU through Stowe. So even though these guys have pitted, the DRS train is still in full force. This current one being led by Gabox, who is 11th on track at the moment. And it goes all the way down to CEST, who currently running on board with the McLaren. But it looks like there's a bit of a train as well for those guys that have yet to pit. Bido, looks like Rhapsody 5/10, Coscuto 5/10, Yama 7/10. These guys are still not giving each other any room to breathe, but looks like they are all slowly but surely using that battery.
Yes, they are, but Angel, I actually thought he was going to lose a lot of time, but he will just rejoin ahead of Gabox, the one who was battling on first in, so he will retain that net P2. No, because Vizimon undercut, but a net P3 at the moment, but Vizimon has to pit for another compound, inters or mediums, we will see at the end, but at the moment it seems like Angel has the pace, and a very good one.
Yeah, we just caught the tail end of a move that Tom Hogg was doing on Stryfium, down for 16th place at the moment, up the inside of Brooklands, very, very nicely. A little bit of contact between the two, but a little love tap never hurt anybody. Now Rhapsody, he's very, very close to the back of this Williams. Just over 4/10 of a second, I should say, as Arnhel making his way past Vizimon as well through Stowe. And he is showing that those mediums, while they are a little bit harder than those soft compound tires behind him, is showing that he has the pace over the Red Bull driver, up into 9th place now. And Becky B has encountered his first bit of traffic in the form of Zamus.
It doesn't seem like Vizimon has more pace than Angel. Angel just overtook him with those mediums, as I said, and now Gabox really closing as well the gap, as well as Twinkie. Just they're with the softs as well, but really trying to catch. They're already on the DRS, and Gabox will try now the move as Becky B overtakes Zamus. A different strategy, of course. Zamus still has to pit after as well that mistake he had on Chapel, but as I said, Twinkie on those softs trying to maximize the gain, and just closing on Gabox as Gabox tries to do the move on Vizimon.
Gabox currently 3.5 tenths behind Vizimon in this battle for 10th place on the track at least. But Zamus, he's doing well to stay with Becky B. 3/10 is still the gap. He will have the DRS through the hangar straight. Gets a little bit of a worse run through Chapel. But you can see he's using that overtake, he's using that DRS as well. He's really gaining on the Williams, but it's not going to quite be enough to send it up the inside. But I'm also just keeping a close eye, not only for this fight between Vizimon and Gabox, but also this fight between the front two on track as well, that are yet to pit, Bido. because 13 laps onto these mediums, they certainly have seen better days, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think these hards on the Renault are currently faster.
I was gonna say that actually. I was on board with Casquito this last lap, and it seems like he's pushing harder than Maxime, more energy on that tank, and at the moment it seems like a very good pace. Yama as well blocking that front left, and Rhapsody as well very close. So it seems like the hards were not that bad option, because at this point it seems like the crossover is doing them a favor.
BTFU also getting very close to his teammate. Has a full battery in the tank as well. Team orders maybe. They looks like BTFU might actually be getting held slightly behind Fischer. Looks like BT does have the 100% battery in the tank. And Fischer, we run on board with him, he's only down to about 25%. So maybe team orders might need to be in play there, as BTFU might be losing a little bit of time there. CJOS as well. It looks like Casquito and Maxime B side by side through Stowe at the moment, Bido. Maxime trying to do all that he can to hold on to the lead of things in this race, but the more that they fight, the closer that Yama and Rhapsody get to this fight as well.
Gablox now will try the move on the outside, but he's not the only one. Tricky on the inside of the Red Bull. It seems like a double spots lost for Fizimon, so Gablox will jump into P10 and Twinkie onto P11. Very good move from both of them. Fizimon on low battery.
Yeah, Fizimon has definitely been pushing that car as much as he can, and maybe it was a mistake or something. I'm not quite sure what spurred the double overtake from both Gablox and Twinkie on the Red Bull, but the fact of the matter is that he is now down into 12th place, and he has a fair bit of work to try and catch up, as Becky B now on the back of Jack 5. Looking around the outside of Brooklands. This could be trouble. And he's been tapped. Becky B's been tapped, and he's been spun around by the Haas. He has to be careful rejoining the track. And it looks like he gets out of the way very nicely indeed. But he's lost the net lead of the race to Arnhel. Arnhel now taking full advantage. And that is super unfortunate for the Williams driver. Looks like Jack just couldn't get the car stopped in time. And that was all she wrote. Becky B losing the rear of the car after the contact, and Becky B now has a little bit more work to do if he wants to win this race, Bido.
It was really massive, as I was on board and I was just watching. I probably was mistaken, but I was watching probably some rain, but I'm not sure. Now Zama's on the inside with Jack S. It seems like a very good move for him. Now Ferrari on P6, very good strategy, still has to pit. Who's pitting now is Chirri, who is letting down his strategy to pit for a set of softs. But I don't know if it's the best strategy, as it's supposed to rain at this moment. Look at the leaders are very close.
Yeah, Casquito 2/10 is the gap there. Yama 3/10, Rhapsody 5/10. These guys still caught up in that DRS train. You can see from helicopter shot, Casquito, he gains on Maxime B, but he doesn't gain quite enough. He will need to use a bit more of that battery if he wants to get ahead of that McLaren. But all four of these drivers are putting in some decent lap times and showing some great consistency as well on those aging tires, especially those on the mediums, those being Maxime B and Yama, as those mediums, while they won't be feeling horrible, Bido, they certainly have seen better days.
Yeah, certainly. Now Casquito very close, almost tapping the rear of Maxime. Now he'll try a better exit, but it doesn't seem likely.
He's got it. He's gotten it, Bido. He's using that DRS. He's turned the overtake off. Maxime B in the middle of the track. Which way is he going to go? It looks like he's going to looking up the inside into Stowe. A little bit earlier on the brakes. Maxime holding it around the outside. And Casquito, a nice attempt, but he's going to have to try a bit more than that if he wants to pass the McLaren.
What a good try from Casquito, but a good defense from Maxime with low battery, and still retaining that first place on 16 laps, all mediums. So right now Casquito really is trying to push, as well as Rhapsody in the back of Yama, and not only them, but Becky on the back of Angel as well, trying to push. But Angel is a very good driver with that management on ERS, and not only ERS, but as well on the tires. So as well, Gabox will closing there and on the DRS train.
Yeah, some very close gaps. Max Senna getting past Triffium into Stowe as well, but looks like Triffium isn't quite letting him go just yet, doing all that he can on those old mediums to try and stay with the Red Bull. But some very tight gaps on this grid now. Becky B has that overtaken DRS. He's gaining, even despite Arnell having DRS, he's gaining. Does he go for a launch? He has a look up the inside. Tries to spook the racing point, but it isn't quite enough. A purple first sector for Becky B. He is fuming. He is driving angry there. He is pushing that car as much as he can. He knows that he needs to get past, because once this rain hits Bitter, it is going to be next to impossible to overtake. We saw a few daring overtakes there in Tier 3 a little bit earlier.
Casquito will try it on the inside of Stowe, and now it seems like he will get it.
Oh, he's further ahead, but is it going to be enough? Maxime, he's holding it up the inside. Casquito, it's a little bit late on the brakes. It started raining. Yes, it has been. And Casquito has taken the lead of this race as the raindrops start to fall. All these guys that pitted for these mediums have lost out, I think. And these guys who have been able to do the alternate strategy and have stayed out have really benefited from this. As Yama looking up the inside of Maxime B as well into turn 3. It looks like Maxime defending inside now for turn 4. Can Yama find the traction that he needs in those medium compound tires? It looks like he's found a large chunk of it, and he's gaining on the McLaren. Is it enough? He's using that battery. Maxime B, that red light flashing as he's low on battery. Yama up the inside. There's a little bit of a contact between the two as well, Bitter. But these two are still going side by side at it. This is incredible.
Oh, still side by side on the exit of Lovefield, both on medium compound. Same age of mediums, more battery for the Mexican. Now on the outside of Cops, it seems like he will try it. This can be amazing. Make a look at the move.
They're still going at it. They're still going at it. Yama will have the inside into Max and Beckett, and Maxime concedes. And he will slot into third place there. But wow, what a battle between these guys. And I do believe there's a bit of exchange further down the grid as well. Looks like Jack 5 getting very close to the back of Twinkie as well. But here goes Rhapsody. Rhapsody as well. Using that DRS at overtake. The management of ERS has been crucial. Being stuck, being the head of that DRS train has left Maxime with nothing. And now he's lost 3 positions in the space of a lap and a half. And Arnell getting past Zamis as well. Behind them for 5th place. Spitter.
Now he'll try to break the DRS between him and Becky B, as Jesus makes another move now on Bisha on the the Hangar Straight, sorry. So Bisha, I think like he's really struggling at the moment. I don't know if he has damage or in some capacity.
Yeah, we'll have a look in just a little bit. Looks like Striffium is gaining on Max Senna down the Hangar Straight. Isn't going to be quite close enough to make a move. But wow, what timing from these front 3 to get the jump on Maxime B. The rain is now starting to fall a little bit heavier now. Zamas seems to be struggling a bit with the damp conditions as he has a little bit of a snap out through what is Aintree. Putting the power down through the loop at Aintree now. And we'll get Bitter in the lobby, back in the lobby very, very soon. But it looks like a few pitters is ready. Striffium's out of the race, and we have a virtual safety car on lap 19 of this race, as we'll just try and get Bitter back into the session.
I have events, no worries about that.
Alright. Well, we have a virtual safety car. Striffium, unfortunately, is out of this race. Looks like he tried to carry a little bit too much speed through Abbey, turn number 1, and he may have just lost the rear of that car and gone straight off into the right-hand side. And that is one of Ferrari's hopes and dreams for a great Silverstone race. Completely crushed Bitter.
Yeah, he had a mistake early on turn 13, if I'm not mistaken, on the first stages of this race.
Oh, hello.
Another mistake.
It looks like a couple of drivers have picked up drive-through penalties as well. Casquito is the first of the front 4 to make their way into the pits. We'll have a look at the penalties, and it's the top 3. The top 3 all have drive-through penalties, Bitter.
Oh my god, this is massive for the race. This is massive.
Vischer now, the next driver to head into the pits, and he's gone a little bit too deep. He's used that dry braking point, but the tires just couldn't give him the grip. Casquito, the first driver onto the intermediate compound tires, making his way through the pit lane as we speak. We will keep an eye on the lap times and the deltas between that and the dry runners. But Yama, currently in lead of things, he has that drive-through penalty, as does Rhapsody, as does Maxime B. And Arnell has quite a gap between himself and Zamis. Becky B, he knows he needs to get past Zamis if he wants to try and close that gap at all to the racing point, and he has. He has made the move on the Ferrari driver, the Williams, the championship leader. Car number 9 now up into 5th place with a whole lot of battery to try and push to get as close as he can to that racing point.
Casquito is on inters, and I don't think that's a better option. As we can see, the loss of grip there on left field. Oh, I don't think that was the option, Mikau. I don't think that was the option for the Renault driver who was there on the top. He doesn't have a drive-through though, but still on the inters, so that really can cost him all the race, all the work he has done on these 20 laps.
He'll get ahead of those 3 that have drive-through penalties. That gap between himself and Tom Hawk isn't extending too much, but it certainly is growing. So maybe it's a little bit earlier. It looks like Rhapsody and Maxime Big heading into the pits to serve that drive-through penalty, but Yama's stayed out once more, Bido.
I don't really know which is the best option, to be honest. I really don't know which is the best option, as he will try to stay out, but a lot of drivers speeding right now. Probably it's for inters. Probably this can be for inters, as Angel stays out, the net leader. There's a yellow flag. I think that's Bisha on P17, having a major loss of traction out of Chapel. And a lot of drivers speeding for inters.
Yeah, a lot of drivers. You can see Visha really starting to show the rain has gotten heavier. I think we are right on the crossover point, Bido. DRS hasn't quite been disabled yet, but this is right on the crossover, and I think Casquito, yeah, he is. He's gating immensely on Maxime B. I think this is a crossover point, and this is absolutely horrible for Yama if it is, because he still needs to serve that drive-through, and he can't change tires in a drive-through penalty. So he's going to have to pit, serve that drive-through penalty, and then do an entire another lap on those mediums before the rain hits. And there's only a handful of laps left in this race. We're currently on lap 21 of 26. And there we go, DRS has been disabled.
Casquito on the outside of Maxime, we can see the inters are faster, of course, as DRS disabled is just on our screen. So Yama, Angel, Becky, Gabox, BTF, Seizures, and Rhapsody, as well as Maxime, Cherry, and Nexena, and Gaziek still on those dry compounds. Rhapsody really suffering as well on those hards, as Casquito will try to do it on the outside. It seems like Casquito is the net leader at the moment. We will see when all of these leaders split.
Oh, and Rhapsody, oh no, Rhapsody is understeered because of the lack of grip into the rear of Casquito, and he has spun it now. And you can just see he is having so much trouble there. But Yama, he is going through the pit lane. He is serving that drive-through penalty, and he will have to go yet one more lap on those dry combat tires, and he is going to lose so much time being on those dries, and I think he's really blundered that one. Becky B unable to jump. Angel in the pit lane. Casquito coming through turns 1 and 2 now. And Casquito, he is in net lead of things, so even though he pit us a tiny bit early for those intermediate compound tires, he has made the strategic undercut work, and you just see Yama having absolutely zero grip through. He's on the apex there of entry. It looks like Casquito is going to try and make his way past the Williams. It shouldn't be too much of an issue, and Yama has to brake about 50 meters earlier just to try and make the corner. Casquito up into the lead of things, and he has about a 10-second gap to his next competitor, which is Angel on those medium compound tires. So an amazing stroke of strategy there from the Renault team. And Casquito, he only has to hold on for a few more laps, has to make 0 mistakes, and this race win is well and truly his, Bido.
Mikau, I think 10 months watching these races on MRL, and I think I'm just ahead of the best debut I've seen on MRL. Second place on Asher, and probably a win here on Silverstone. Casquito Benitez will try it really hard. 5 laps to go, actually 4 when he crosses the line on the Renault, and this is very, very amazing effort for him. A strategy and everything you want, probably luck, but this is pure skill.
Yeah, as a yellow flag set the one, looks like Max Senna and Visha have had a little bit of an issue. Looks like Visha slowing down to let Max Senna back past him. There must have been a little bit of a tap between those two. Great sportsmanship from Visha. That's what you love to see, as Yama finally comes into the pits once again to get off of those medium compound tires with only a handful of laps to go. So Casquito, 8.2 seconds is the gap that he has back into Angel. Angel, 1.3 seconds ahead of Becky B, who might have to settle for 3rd place once again. Angel does have that penalty, and knowing Becky B, he is aware of that. He isn't going to be pushing quite as hard, knowing that Casquito is a little bit out of reach, but Angel, he is gaining on the Renault driver. He is showing immense pace in these intermediate conditions. Becky B is staying with him, but I don't think it's going to quite be enough to really put any kind of pressure on Casquito, but it could make things a little bit touch and go on the last lap of the race.
Amazing, but yeah, as you said, he's really pushing and trying to gain, but I don't think it will be enough. Of course, it's only a couple of tenths per lap, it seems like the gain from Angel. So at this moment, Casquito has a lot of breathing space to not screw this win he has in this pocket. But at the moment, Becky B as well, really close on Angel as well as Twinkie. I think he's on range to gain a place after that penalty serve for Angel, but he's very close. I think it's actually 3 tenths off.
Meanwhile, at the back end of things, looks like Vischer and Max Senna having a little bit of a fight into the first technical section of the lap through the loop, and entry they go. Looks like Vischer's gotten so much better grip off of the traction zone. They're now going side by side is the AlphaTauri with the Red Bull up the inside. He has a look. Looks like Mexton a little bit later on the brakes. Vischer going off the track. He actually picks up a 3-second time penalty for his troubles there. Looking around the outside of the Red Bull. Mexton doing very well to keep the AlphaTauri at bay, but looks like he's found the grip, has the AlphaTauri around the outside, but they're still going side by side. They're side by side now into Cop's corner, and looks like Vischer shooting around the outside of the Red Bull, and that is a move done and dusted up to 17th place. So a nice scrap between those two, as Becky B now within that 1 second of Angel, and Angel 6.7, so he's gained a second that last lap to Casquito, but with only 3 laps remaining, that isn't going to quite be enough to really put any kind of pressure on the Renault. So Casquito, he is looking very good to take his first race win in MRL, Bido.
Yeah, he really is. He doesn't need to push, as you said, because he really has this on the pocket. 2.5 sector laps to go. So at the moment, it's really good to Casquito. If he can hold it there, I think he will. But at the moment, Becky B, as you said, less than a second between him and Angel. Doesn't seem like he will be pushing enough to do that overtake. Gabox as well, very close on Twinkie, and Zamas after that spin, a very good recovery up into P6, but he has a penalty, or I think even 2. I think he has 1. Yeah, 3 seconds.
Yeah, Rhapsody is really closing onto the back of Cheery as well in these intermediate conditions. Can he find the run he needs out of Beckett's and Chapel? No, not quite. He won't have DRS assistance, as looks like the leaders have now started the penultimate lap of this race. Casquito 6 seconds ahead of Angel. 1.2 seconds is the gap between Angel and Becky B. Angel does have that 3-second time penalty though, so I don't think he's going to be worried too much about Becky B. I think he should be more worried about Twinkie, who I think, is he gaining? Is he really trying to push into that 3-second gap? He's missed the apex of Brooklands entirely, has the second Renault car. So a 1-4 anyway for Renault would be an amazing result for the team. And definitely going to be happy with that one is Fraser, one of the Tier 1 Renault drivers. But Gabox, half a second between him and Twinkie. Zamas 4 tenths as well. Fizimon 1.2. He isn't too far behind. BTFU trying to put up some pressure on the Red Bull as well. He's currently sitting in 8th place. Both Zamas and Fizimon do have that time penalty as well. So just trying to keep it nice and clean. Not really much side-by-side action at the moment, but looks like Casquito coming through the Vale chicane for the second last time. Bido, he's going to be starting the final lap of this race in the lead. 5.6 seconds is the gap between himself and Angel, and it looks like if all goes according to plan, he just has to survive for one more lap, keep it nice and clean for one more lap around this damp Silverstone, and he will take away the 25 points for the race win here this evening. As Twinkie, his teammate, picks up 3 seconds. Oh no!
It's just massive for Gabox. Another place he will gain, so he doesn't really need to push, because he was really pushing there. He was 410, 310 there on the back of the Renault, and now he doesn't need to, because that 3 seconds for Twinkie will cost him, I think, 2 places. Probably Gabox and BTFU can jump there on P5, the AlphaTauri driver, so he can really cost at least 2 places for the Renault driver. Very unfortunate to pick it there on the last lap, but Gabox really needs to keep it clean, as well as Becky B there on 3rd place.
Tom Hawk now looking around the outside of Jack 5 into Brooklyn's in the rain. We've seen Jack get into a little bit of drama at Brooklyn's before, but Tom Hawk, he makes the move through up into the points positions. He does have a large number of penalties, I believe about 11 seconds. So looks like Jack 5 will be able to hold on to that final point if he's able just to keep it clean through the last couple of corners into the last sector. But Tom Hawk, an amazing move there. But Casquito, the Renault driver, he started on those hards outside of the top 10. He makes his way through the Vale chicane for the one final time. He puts on the power, making sure not to spin it across the line. And Casquito is a race winner here in Silverstone for Renault. He will take away the 25 points. Angel will finish across the line in second on track, but Becky B will take that second place on penalties. Angel will round off the podium in third. Gabox in fourth. BTFU in fifth. And Twinkie down into 6th place there with that penalty he picked up on the last lap. Zamis finishing the race in 7th place. Sejos in 8th. Fizimon in 9th. And Jack 5 for the Pirates will take home that final point. And I do believe Fizimon does have the fastest lap in this race.
Yes,
get that. Yes, he does. A 1 minute 27.176 Rhapsody coming across the line there in 15th. So we'll go down the back 10 there. So Yama out of the points, unfortunately, after that misplay with the drive-through penalty and the strategy down in 11th place in the second Williams car. Tom Hawk in 12th after the penalties for Racing Point. Maxime B in 13th for McLaren. Chiri in 14th. Rhapsody in 15th. Holt in 16th. Max Senna in 17th. Vischer 18th. And Gorzieg, the last of the finishing drivers in 19th. Striffium, the only DNF in this one, as Vischer and Gorzieg just making their way through the last few corners now. Looks like Vischer coming across the line there, and now we'll just wait for Gorzieg to make his way past. And I do believe that on penalties, Gorzieg has jumped. Maybe no, he hasn't. So 19th place for the Canadian Gorzieg. He does beat his rival there, but driver of the day has to be Cosquito, playing the strategy to absolute perfection and keeping his nose clean when it mattered. And he will pick up the race win here. So wow, what a performance from the Renault on his second race here in Emerald as a full-time driver. Bitter, I am in awe of this man's performance here tonight.
P13 was the starting position. He was on hards. We were thinking if that was the right strategy to start on those hards, and it really was, because the crossover was just before the rain, so it really worked for him. Then he pitted just the lap before the rain came down really massively, and he gained like 5 seconds at least to the net leader at that moment, and then he just took away the win and planted the flag of Argentina there on first spot. A very dominating and good race on strategy.
Yeah, so Cosquito will take the race win all the way from 13th place on the grid, playing the strategy to perfection. The Argentinian taking home 25 points for Renault. Becky B, who looked to be the favorite all race long, and then just had that little bit of an issue with getting the strategy, that crossover between the wets and the dries, and having a little bit of an issue with Jack 5 at Brooklands. He will still come home with that second place. He's working his way back up on that podium after the third place last week in Austria. Angel will round off the podium, the Mexican, starting third, finishing third on this grid. And he will take home those few points. Unfortunate with the penalty there to lose out that runner-up spot. Just missing out on the podium, Gabox for Alfa Romeo, the Chilean, putting in a solid result from the front row of the grid. Could have been a little bit more, I do feel, but he will take the points, I'm sure, nonetheless. BCFU for AlphaTauri, 10th to 5th after a decent race there. Twinkie on his full-time Emerald debut, up from 8th to 6th, so a very, very nice job from him. Zamis, a great recovery drive after a pretty disappointing qualifying and a spin halfway through the race to claim P7 and bring home some points. C-Joss in 8th for McLaren, Fizzymon in 9th for Red Bull, and Jack 5, the reserve from 18th on the grid, will take the final point of this race. But oh my goodness, Alex, Casquito, an absolute masterclass. Hopefully we can get an interview from him after this race. But wow, just oh my goodness, an absolute, just amazing performance there from well, the the Argentinian there.
Yeah, it seems like at least Angel, the third spot on the podium, won't be on the interview. Casquito wants the interview if it's on Spanish. But Becky, they're on the waiting room, so I will put him here on the booth.
Looks like I don't have the appropriate little picture, so we'll put the stream starting soon up there instead, I do believe. Oh, we'll do that one. It isn't starting soon, but looks like Becky B, an interview. Becky B, quite a interesting race from you. Pole position, a great qualifying, was pulling away in the race, and then just ran into a few issues and just couldn't really find that crossover between the rain, it looks like. Just run us through how you're feeling after that race and the second place finish.
I mean, overall, I think I'm relatively happy with it. Definitely great qualifying performance. And I think my race pace was definitely good. Was pulling a good gap, and then after I pitted early to the mediums to do the safe bet, so that I can make it to the rain, and in case the rain didn't come, I could get my 2 compounds. But coming through the field, I ended up getting spun by someone, so that definitely halted my progress, and I think I definitely would have been on for a win. But you have to give it up to the Renault driver, Casquito. That was such a good strategy call by him. Good roll of the dice to pit so early onto the inters, and I can't really compete with that when he rolls the dice like that, and it pays off for him. So got to give it up to him.
Yes, he certainly got that strategy spot on. Was there any concern in qualifying when you saw that there was going to be rain at the end of the race and qualifying on those softs? Because we saw that at least, before the top three got a drive-through each, that they were in a good spot with the rain. They were in the rain. So was there any concern in qualifying there, or was it always just you have the pace on the softs to really pull that gap and pull that pit stop gap that you need?
Yeah, I think if I definitely would have done it over again, I would have went balanced with my tire allocations, that I could have gotten a set of mediums in qualifying. But I think softer is the strat for Britain, so that was the initial thought. And after we saw there was going to be rain, I kind of regretted not being able to qualify in the mediums, because I think I would have had the pace to definitely be up in the top 10 somewhere. So definitely a little upset with that, but overall I'm happy with the laps I put in. That was my PB in qualifying, so overall happy with the race, happy with my race pace and qualifying pace, and ready to take the momentum forward. I definitely like my chances. I mean, I think we have all seen how I like the higher downforce tracks, so I think that'll definitely suit me and my driving style. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, it looks like I pulled another Stryfium and had myself muted for that question. But yeah, looking forward to seeing you next week in Hungary and hopefully getting back on form after some pretty rotten luck in these last few races. So congratulations though again on the second place. And yeah, we'll hope to see you here in the interview room very, very soon.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good night.
All right, now we have a very, very special interview with Cosquito, and we'll have a Spanish interview since we have our resident Spaniard commentator, Bido, and we'll get a translation after that. But Cosquito, congratulations on the race win, mate. Absolute masterclass with the strategy. Well done. Bido, take us away through this interview and guide our viewers through it in the wonderful language that is el español.
Yes, of course. Casquito, perfecta remontada desde 13ª posición. Confirma primero que... Y proseguiremos con... ¿Cómo te sientes de tan los que parecían buenas llegar desde tercera posición a la victoria, a ganar esta carrera?
La verdad, todavía no me lo puedo creer, es increíble. Pero en teoría, en realidad iba a ser media soft, pero cuando vi que llovía al final de la carrera, dije voy con las duras hasta el final y pongo intermedias. Ya que vi que todos largaban con soft y medias, dije no van a llegar, no va a llegar ninguno. Pongo intermedias y voy a estar entre los primeros puestos, así que me la jugué a esa estrategia. Y si no llovía, podía poner soft al final, así que me arriesgué con esa y me salió bien.
Yes. So, entonces, ¿cómo te sientes? Porque tu debut fue un podio en Austria y ahora una victoria en MRL en Silverstone. ¿Crees que vas a poder tener más de esto aquí en MRL?
Espero poder conseguir más loros. La verdad, no lo sé, porque son todos muy buenos y mi ritmo de quali no es muy bueno, viste que largué P11 en Austria y P13 acá, pero mi ritmo de carrera la verdad es muy constante, así que espero poder seguir subiéndome al podio. Y bueno, algún día buscaré por el campeonato.
Claro, claro. Así que nos vamos a ver en la siguiente ronda. Muchísimas gracias por esta entrevista. Ahora mismo traduciré, así que nos vemos en la siguiente ronda.
Ok, gracias.
Okay, so that was for Casquito. He was really thinking that the strategy might work because at the moment he tried the medium soft, but then he thought probably can put the hards, and if it doesn't rain enough, I can put the soft to the end, so I don't risk that much. But he risked it and he gained it, so that was good for him. So it was very very good. And another question was if he was able to. If he find himself there to fight for more wins here on MRL, and then he thought he really doesn't have the best pace on this grid, but still with a little bit of spark of luck, probably he can win some places like today, going to the win or at least a podium till like we saw on Austria. So a very very good race for him.
Yes, well, again, congratulations to our race winner. And just a few closing remarks before we end the stream and rate a lovely member of the F1 community. First of all, massive shout out to both you guys in the chat for sticking around through the delayed stream and through the technical issues. Greatly appreciate it. We greatly appreciate your support. And also be sure to check out our partners, Next Level Racing, !NLR in the chat if you're looking to take your sim racing experience to the next level. They've got some great sim rigs regardless of your price point and whether you prefer a Formula style rig or a GT style rig, they have it all. So !NLR in the chat, and we do thank them in helping us grow the sim racing community. And be sure to join us tomorrow at 8 p.m. BST for those in the UK who for some reason might still be awake watching this wonderful race, and that'll be 3 p.m. for those of you on the east coast of the States. And we will be back with some tier 2 action around Silverstone as the third race of the week. But that is about all from me. Bitter, any closing remarks before we end the stream this evening?
An amazing race. The rain always very good to see. So we hope to see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. BST for Tier 2 action.
Yeah, so if it's anything like Tier 3 and the race that we just saw here for Americas, it's certainly not going to be one to miss. So once again, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will see you guys in the next stream.